Yeah, there's a place I go on a Saturday night, and the bourbon's poured over the firelight. Good company and conversation. Final third's my destination. Cigars and bourbon. I think I've died and gone to heaven. Good friends and company. Well, this is where I want to be. Thank you all for tuning in to the Final Third podcast. Yeah. Let me introduce you to Scotty D. You just don't know how much I drink. Willie B. R.S. Scott, Cocky Wolverine. Mikey B. Our favorite production machine. Heine. Knowledge of cars and machines. Humphrey, the wizard of slot machines. And the pretentious tobacconist. Robbie B.
Welcome back to the Final Third podcast. I'm Rob,
I'm Will.
I'm Scott.
I'm Mike.
Alan.
And Heine.
and today we'll be tasting through some of the Larrikin bottles with Greg Keely. Is that correct?
Keely.
Gosh, I always say that wrong. Greg Keely. Sorry about that, Greg. And then we're going to be smoking the new McAuliffe White that's now available here. We do have an event coming up April the 9th, but you can get out and try it now before the event. And, there we go.
Got it.
Yeah, so hopefully Greg will join us here soon. He's got his link, so he'll join us here hopefully in the next 10 or 15 minutes. We'll get Greg on here.
Yeah.
But hopefully this week I won't kill the Facebook feed. So if you're watching on Facebook, tune in for more than 34 minutes today.
Yeah, we are live on Facebook.
Yeah, we're working on some different ways you can actually tune into.
Yeah.
Testing some stuff on the website, and Mike's been testing some other things to see if we can integrate things to be a little bit more user-friendly. So.
And we are monitoring chats on both YouTube and Facebook, so you Whiskey and Cigar degenerates can comment at us and tell us how wrong we are.
Yeah.
Tell me how cool I look today.
You look cool.
Yes.
Look at you, all set for Tuesday, man.
I like how ladylike you're sitting, too. It's really nice.
It's very ladylike.
I think they dyed the river in Chicago yesterday.
Yep.
It was the brightest green I've seen.
It was
wild.
aggressive.
Yeah. It was aggressive. Yeah, I think Dan Kidd is in Chicago. I saw him post a picture of the river and looked crazy, man.
They use that same stuff they dye their hair with.
Yeah.
So how long does that last? I mean,
It washes out usually by the day or two.
Yeah.
that quick?
I feel like it's like a week total, like from the time that they dump it to the time it's gone.
Huh.
It's surprisingly, like that river stays pretty nice and blue. I wouldn't say clean per se, but blue.
Does it highlight the dead bodies floating in it?
Right, yeah. No, they're all
It's
stuck
like
at the
algae.
bottom with
It
concrete
hides it,
around
yeah.
their shoes.
Yeah, you just don't want to be there in the river when a Dave Matthews Band concert's there.
Yeah.
You know, it's been like, I don't know, 15 years or more since
It
that
doesn't
happened.
matter.
It doesn't
It still
matter.
gets
Everyone
brought up,
still
yeah.
comments about it.
Yeah.
Poor Dave. It's not like he had anything to do with it. It was just a bus driver dumping.
It's just a whoops. It was a whoopsie.
And then the thing was, you found out kind of like that was actually like a normal practice for a lot of like buses because those bridges, like they're just
The mesh
great.
bridges,
Yeah. And they're like, yeah, that's a good time to do it. So,
Yeah. So, man, I've really been enjoying this McAuliffe White. I think I've smoked both the Toro and the Robusto. Love the flavor on it. It's a great, opening cigar to have for the day, I think.
Yeah, we're going to be really, especially the first two bottles, the Larrikin Small Batch and Larrikin Bottle and Bond. We're looking to maybe see if this is going to be a good pairing because we need a pairing of the month, and it'd be awesome to have the McAuliffe White and Larrikin both being new to the lounge.
For sure.
To be up there. So
I'm going to do a little something different. I mean, I know you guys are going to drink that. I'm going to drink mine with coffee.
go ahead. Yeah.
Just because I've had one already, and I didn't have a coffee in there, and so I know we talked about this before it came out. Great first cigar. It's a little more, it's more of a Connecticut aspect to it. So I want to actually see what it does with coffee, because currently I love the green. Usually it's my first cigar of the day, McAuliffe Green, and I usually have it with a coffee. I want to see how this pairs with the coffee as well.
Yeah, I was talking about this yesterday in the lounge, if you blindfolded me and I didn't know it was a Connecticut and I couldn't see it, I'd probably say it's definitely a medium, a solid medium on the strength and flavor level. What are we talking
I totally
about?
agree.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of a San Andreas wrapper instead of a Connecticut.
Well, I think it's
It's
that
deceiving.
broadleaf underneath it. So this has that Connecticut leaf over top, but a broadleaf binder. And I think that broadleaf is bringing out some of that dark chocolate, but with the creaminess, it kind of blends back to like a San Andreas note to it.
Okay.
Now,
I
I will
like it a
say the
lot.
cold draw, I don't think there's a lot there.
No.
It's soft, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because
Which is kind of the way it happens.
It does have a nice sweet.
Silky.
Yeah. It's kind of the way it happens, though, with when you're trying to go for a milder cigar. You don't get near as much on the cold draw. Those stronger cigars, you get more of that aroma off the Ligero, which gives you a little bit more spice on the tongue when you're trying to retro or cold draw it. But this one definitely doesn't have that. Now there is some pepper on the retrohale in this cigar, but not aggressive.
I think it becomes very full flavored on the retro in the second, third.
Yeah.
And I'll see, like, I smoked this for the first time since we had it on the show when we couldn't tell people what we were smoking because we had this like 6 months ago.
Right.
And we couldn't talk about it.
Allegedly.
We couldn't talk about it at the time. It was still way super early. They just got started with rolling them and getting them set for aging.
And I'm pretty sure we smoked this before those two different guys up in the Northeast smoked them. So
I
it's
think
great.
we did.
We did.
I
We just
guarantee,
could not
I
talk
guarantee
about it.
not. They probably did it before us.
I know
but
they're
it's
out
okay.
and about big time because obviously being Facebook friends with Lauren, and so she's been a lot
Obviously.
of events.
Like
and stuff
that
lately.
fast name drop.
Yeah.
This was kind of, I feel like, something that was missing in their color lineup. It kind of completes it now.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have this, I don't want to say lighter option. It's definitely not a light cigar, but just a Connecticut.
A milder option.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and so they have one more coming out at the end of this year, or sometime this year, the orange. And the orange is going to be another Connecticut. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they're either going one way or the other. They're going full mild, or I believe what I think they're doing is they're going to make a stronger version of a Connecticut.
Okay.
All right, we got Greg here. Let me get him in. Let me get him in here.
And by the way, the video is working, Mike. With the cigar we're smoking, the McAuliffe White. But we've moved on to the bottle and bond now. So we'll let you kind of talk a little bit about your small batch, and then maybe talk a little bit about that bottle and bond as well, if you don't mind.
Ooh, there you go.
Yeah, look, the small batch was a bourbon I didn't want to make, but my wife and I discussed it at length, argued about it, I guess, and of course she won, so I made it. She wanted a lower proof bourbon, but something that still tasted like bourbon. Like there's a lot of things that come out around the 80, 84 proof that just taste like watered down versions of their other products. We wanted something distinct. We ran this with a higher corn content to give it a little bit more sweetness. But the key with it was we weren't going to put it out unless it actually tasted like bourbon. And I think we managed to pull that off. And at 80 proof, I think it's got some great viscosity to it. I think, the color's really nice. And this is the guy we're talking about, the small batch. It's 6 years old. They're all age stated now, and it really works in a cocktail or just sipping it neat. Or if you're going to put something on a bit of ale-8 ginger ale or something like that, it works for that too. On the bottled in bond, that's a whole different animal. So the bottled in bond was something that I put together. Based on what I liked, and I really didn't give a shit if anyone else liked it or not. And why I say that is that, hey, it's her 10th
Hey, we're dog
birthday,
friendly.
So I can't tell her off. Yeah. Whenever I go to a bar or doing an event or whatever, people always say, "Oh, what do you drink when when you go to a bar and there's no Larrikin?" And my quick answer is Wild Turkey 101, because to me, Turkey 101 tastes like bourbon should be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the bottled in bond, this guy, I wanted to create my own Turkey 101. And by saying that, I mean I wanted to create something that reflected to me what I think bourbon should be, or should taste like, or should be. And that's what this guy is. It's an 8-year-old age-stated, actually these will be 9-year-old now. Obviously 100 proof, and it's our standard 75-21-4 mash bill.
You know, one of the things I love about this, it is absolutely like a traditional, just what you think bourbon should be. I love that you said that.
Yeah, and it's 100% true. Like this, how I got to this one was, you know, back in the day it was just me and Katie and a couple of helpers here and there, and I literally pulled 10 or 15 barrels, proofed them. Actually, I didn't to start with. I was blending them without proofing them down, and then when I proofed them to 100, it obviously totally changed. So that was a half-day wasted doing that and drinking. And then I was like, okay, so now I have to proof them down before I blend them. So we proofed down to about 100 each. And I literally sat there just with, it wasn't even very scientific. I was just pouring bits and bobs into different glasses and getting to the flavor profile, the profile I wanted. And that's how our bottled in bond was born. And now, you know, I think we're on batch 5. There, you know, being a small craft distiller, you know, we're never going to have everything. You know, we're not Maker's Mark or Buffalo Trace or something. We're never going to, and we don't want to have everything taste the same every time we bring it out. So, you know, you're going to, particularly with the small batch and the bottle and bond, which are our two main multi-barrel whiskies, you're going to find slight variations from batch to batch, but the backbone will be the same.
Yeah, I mean, the bottled and bond this is the kind of bourbon I like. I mean, it's got a ton of spice to it. It's the rye, it's a rye-based bourbon, and it's not overly aggressive, but it's just enough there to like, it's, you know, this is my kind of bourbon.
Yeah. But everybody knows that my least favorite descriptor of bourbon is smooth.
Right.
In a lot of ways,
it should be banned.
Exactly. Thank you. Yes, it should be. I appreciate that. Look, you're supposed to taste bourbon. You're supposed to get a little bit of that Kentucky hug, that blanket that warms you up a little bit. And, you know, sometimes when you have none of that, I'm like, well, if I wanted scotch, I'd drink scotch. You know, but that's not what I want. I want bourbon. And I love that this has got some push behind it. It lets you know, hey, yep, you're drinking bourbon. There's no question about it.
So would you say it's drinks at its proof?
Yeah, I mean, it absolutely drinks at its proof. I think that's a really good way to put it. It drinks at its proof. And 100 should be noticeable. You know, we're not drinking 80.
This falls definitely into the crushable category for me.
Yeah.
Like, I could just keep drinking.
Yeah, I mean, I love the small batch. I agree with you. Great job. Kudos, Greg, in being able to put something together at that proof that still really represents well in the bourbon category. But bottled and bond, that's always going to be a winner. Always.
Let me tell you, guys, this is what I drink at home. It's what I have open on. Well, I've got everything here. I can drink whatever I want. And this is pretty much what I drink every day. It stands up in a cocktail wonderfully well. Doesn't overpower anything. But by the same token, you know, I can put a big fat ice cube in it and sit on the porch with the dogs and look at the cows and be quite happy to, you know, sit there until my wife tells me it's time to come in.
Well, and you bring up a great point in that, you know, old fashions, Manhattans, Gold Rushes, you know, you name the bourbon cocktail. Like, you got to be able to taste the bourbon in it.
Yeah.
Like, it's got to be able to carry
That's
through.
the base.
This, you know, this bottled and bond, you know, I haven't had a cocktail with it, but if I'm going to have I'm definitely going to have to do that. Do an old fashioned with this and try it, because of the rye spice that's shining through on it.
Yeah. Greg said ginger ale or ale 8 or something like that. I would love this in like a mule, maybe. Would be good.
Mule's
Some
good.
ginger
It's
beer.
great in a mule.
Oh,
I was thinking the
really
Toronto
works in
would
mule.
be great in this, with this too.
It's
Because I know it's usually rye, but this is so rye forward.
Yeah.
I think it'll be good.
It's got a slight hint of kind of a grape kind of fruit note to it. I'd really love to have it in a bourbon smash. And you guys know
there you go.
I'm a smash fan, but you got to pour some bourbon in it. Like the biggest problem I have with the bourbon smash is most places that make them, they tend to make them as like girly, fruity kind of whiskey drinks. I'm like, no.
Well, it is.
A ton of bourbon. Yeah, you're not wrong. Okay, yep, go ahead, lay it on me.
Got him.
But if you have it with enough bourbon, you just get those kind of nice blueberry mint notes that come through, and not too sweet. This, I think, would work really well with that.
I could put enough bourbon with spinach and eat that.
There you go.
You should never speak of having a bourbon smash again.
Oh, man. Wow.
It's
Greg's
Scotty's new
giving it to
oatmeal.
me.
Yeah.
I like to give Scotty crap because he pulled a tasty note last year that was
Rolled
oatmeal,
oats.
and like
Rolled
nobody
oats.
else got that, so we just give him crap for it. So
Yeah.
now it's going to be bourbon smashes.
My palate's just more refined than you degenerates.
Oh no!
Yep.
So, Greg, one of your products we don't have out here today, but one that I really like is the rose water. And I just want to ask you, like, how much of a pain is that to make, just from the standpoint of steeping all those rose petals? Like, is it really challenging to get that proofing water the way you want it? Like, how much time goes into that? Yeah.
Well, as you guys probably know, and I've talked about before, I'm not much for measuring and stuff, which is always, or writing stuff down, which is a bit of a problem. The challenge with the rosewater bourbon is just as you suggested, is getting the brew, right. If you make a cup of tea, and you put the tea bag in and you leave it 3 minutes too long, it's like stews it, and it doesn't work. It doesn't taste any good. So, yeah, we tried a lot. I experimented a lot. We used dried rose petals, and we use fresh rose petals, and we use a mix of them. And how we've got it now is we don't boil the water anymore. We simmer it about 185 degrees, 180 degrees, something like that. We put the tea bags into the boiling water or into the hot water, and we let it sit there between 2.5 to 3 hours, just simmering away. And then we turn it off and leave it overnight to just stew in its own juice.
Okay. And
that seems to work pretty well. We do it now in just 5-gallon pots. We used to do much bigger ones, but 5-gallon pots lets us control the environment a bit better. And we've got it down now. I can pretty much make a brew. We get 4 pots running at one time. I can pretty much, set that and forget it now. And then the rest of it is just, proofing the bourbon like you would with regular well water.
Yeah, gotcha.
So would you say it's your hardest one to make on a consistent basis?
No question. It's our cigar lounge. I don't know if you guys have had that. It's really a huge pain in the ass to make. But people have just really embraced it. And the problem with the cigar lounge is that it finishes in 5 different barrels.
Oh.
And each barrel finishes at a different time. So, we've got Madeira, jackfruit, cognac, maple syrup, and Amburana barrels. And they all finish dramatically differently. So, the maple barrel and the Amburana barrel are finished lickety-split, whereas the cognac, because it's a much bigger barrel as well. Yeah, I hate Amburana, but don't get me started.
We do. Well, I do.
Gosh, I just like it with a passion. But yeah, so what we do is we finish them in the barrels, and each barrel finishes differently. And then when each barrel is ready, we dump it into separate stainless steel tanks until all of it's ready, and then we start the blending process. So there's a heck of a lot of work that goes into it, from sourcing the barrels, getting a jackfruit barrel. We have to go direct to Brazil now, and it's expensive. And we're playing around with some pearwood barrels at the moment to see how that'll work. But the cigar lounge, if you haven't tried it yet, please do. It is just it's just exploded for us, and we're really, really pleased with where it is now.
Are those some of those barrels like the Pearwood? Are those some that you can reuse multiple times, or are you using them one time?
Yeah.
And find okay.
No, you can with those exotics. You couldn't afford those. Some of these barrels cost like $3,000 and $4,000 each.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
So
was the price of those.
Yeah, you couldn't afford to do it if you didn't. But basically what it means, you can get, cognac barrel, for instance. We might use that 4 times. 5 times maybe. It just means you have to leave the liquid in the barrel longer each time.
Sure.
Yeah, and the same thing with Amburana. Like, obviously, if you get fresh Amburana barrels, first, second refills.
Nice splash and
they
get
don't,
it out of there.
They don't need a lot of time in there. Like,
So let me ask you
God,
this question.
I hate Amburana.
So, Greg
Thank you so much, Greg.
Amburana. So why do people make it? Because overall, as someone that's learning about the whiskey industry, overwhelmingly I hear people say they hate it, but yet everybody seems to make it. So why do they make it if doesn't seem to be
Because enough people buy it.
Yeah, exactly. Enough people buy it that will keep distributors and distilleries.
I just think it's awful. I can't even smell it. I dislike it with a passion. And I was talking to Barry when he was still at RD1, and they make an Amburana, and I was like, dude, and I can't even smell it, And I said to him, hey, why do you guys make it? What's up with this? Why you do this? And he goes, we sell shit tons of it. So
yeah,
wow.
And honestly,
people,
that's like the best
people
one.
like it.
Yeah, if you really despise Amburana, that's the RD1 we've talked about on the show. It's about the only one that we're like, that's maybe.
Yeah, I agree.
that should be the baseline for Amburana. Is RD1.
Don't go any stronger than that.
Yeah, it's insane.
Oh my God.
Do you find, because you're using Amburana barrels as opposed to like
staves or chains,
cubes or things like that, so
yeah, we never use any of that. So
have you found with the Amburana barrels that they leak a lot? Because I've seen like at where's it in Ohio, High Bank.
Yeah.
They do Amburana, and they have if you walk through their rick house, you could tell the Amburana barrels because they all got a puddle underneath them. Like all of them are leakers. It looks like. I was just curious if you had that same issue.
Yeah, I haven't. No, I haven't noticed it. I mean, the guys up that run the warehouse and everything are pretty good with the old wax, the wax pen. But no, I haven't noticed anything with the Amburana. But remember, we'll only probably run 6 to 10 barrels at a time. So. It's pretty easy to spot if something starts leaking.
Gotcha. Well, boys, what are we going to hit next? Like, what we got?
Yeah, what should we drink next?
We can jump on this side if you want to.
Yeah.
Greg, are you a cigar smoker as well?
I am.
So what's your go-to for the bottle and bond?
I'm going to do a shameless plug. We actually created a couple of cigars of our own at Larrikin. For our humidor, we sell. They're wonderful. It's a Cuban seed, Nicaraguan grown, hand rolled in Miami. Pretty light profile to it, I guess. But it tastes like a cigar. We spend quite a lot of time. Myself and Chris Dispinet, who's a international cigar sommelier. I didn't even know there was such a thing. Spent a lot of time with Javier, the guy that literally rolls them by hand for us, getting the blend right. And we're selling a lot of them a week, and people really seem to enjoy them. So that's pretty much all I've had for the last little bit.
Yeah, I know you sold at least 6 of them yesterday.
yeah, I know.
Cody was, our buddy Cody was up there, and I called him. I was like, "Can you take Greg a white?" And he was like, "I smoked them all." And he was there. He was like, "You want me to grab the house blend ones?" I was like, "Yeah, grab them." So maybe next podcast or the week after, we'll end up smoking the one that you just mentioned. So we'll give you some notes on that too. Look forward to that one. That
bringing out a darker sort of. A heavier cigar, which will be a barber pole kind of finish, which we're pretty excited about.
That's awesome.
Bigger gauge and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I picked up some cigars when I was there at the distillery last summer, and they're great. They're great cigars. Good.
Yeah, I mean, so, last year when we talked, Greg, we talked a little bit about, where you guys were located, how you guys got your name, all that stuff. I know you mentioned that you were waiting on some government approval to get your stills up and running. Is that all good now? Or
Yeah, finally.
Finally,
Yeah.
so...
yeah.
So tell us a little bit about post-approval there. So how'd all that end up, and give us kind of like the update with Larrikin now.
Yeah, so it took way longer than we expected it to. We had to, we moved our stills out of where they were operating nearly 7 months ago, maybe longer, and they've just been sitting there pretty much. So we run a 650-gallon pot, a 500-gallon pot, and our white spirits run through a 150-gallon pot still. The issue right now is that, with the apparent glut of bourbon on the shelves and in the market and in barrels around Kentucky and elsewhere, there's not a lot of market for making barrels or, making whiskey except for your own use, obviously. We're not a contract distiller by any stretch, but, part of the business model, I guess, is to do some contract distilling for smaller craft distilleries that might want 10 barrels of this or 5 barrels of that and that sort of thing. So there's not a lot of that going on right now. And we're just sort of treading water a little bit. We just put in a brand new automated bottling line, which the guys were very happy about. They don't have to hand bottle everything anymore.
That's great.
So we've started. We're doing some work for 3 or 4 different brands at the moment. A couple of them you'd know, a couple of them you wouldn't because they're new. But they're from Ohio, Oregon, New York, and Kentucky. So the good thing about that is, we're able, and most of the times with that stuff, we're using, barrels they've already purchased, and then we're storing them and bottling for them or blending for them and then bottling. In one of the instances, when they're white spirits, 3 of them are taking our vodkas, which we're making different versions of for different folks. So, it's still a really, really little operation, and but we're getting there, despite the government.
Yeah. I'll tell you, that's one thing I love about the whiskey and the cigar world is the amount of relationships and the amount of camaraderie that happens within the industry. Everyone, these two industries cigars especially are small, but it's still, it's still whiskey is kind of a niche or industry too, even though it's a big industry. But it seems like everyone comes together and they just want everyone to succeed. You're not going after your competition because if they win, you win.
No.
Yeah. And I love seeing you doing some of that, collaborative with doing the sourcing barrels for people and stuff. I think it's great.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that because the industry, and I say this all the time, is the closest thing I sort of had to the military in that there's a camaraderie in it. I can call someone at Wild Turkey that'll come down and help me fix a still because I have no bloody idea what's going on with it. And they'll come down and help out. We had a small distillery up the road, not too far away. Ran out of corks, and they knew our bottles were the same size, and so we gave them a bag of corks to get them through a bottling. And that's just that's just how the industry is. It's exactly. I don't compete with Wild Turkey. In fact, Jimmy Russell sends people to our distillery every day. He's in the gift shop.
That's cool. That's awesome.
The godfather of bourbon is telling people to come and try our bourbon, which is pretty neat.
That's pretty awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So now we've moved on.
Yeah.
We're on the high wheat rye whiskey. And this one comes in at 117.5 proof.
Yeah, there it is.
This one's a 9-year.
He's prepared.
By the way, this is one of my favorite Larrikin.
Yeah.
This is my favorite Larrikin.
I love
100%.
This is probably my favorite thing we've ever done.
Yeah, it's so good.
What barrel do you guys have?
What barrel was that?
22.
I got 24.
The wheat just balances and rounds it out nicely.
Yeah,
it's not like spiky at all. It's
You
just
don't
solid.
you don't get that rye wheat battle back and forth. These seem to blend
not
together
at
really
all.
well.
And
This one's
so
65 rye, 35 wheat.
And it's such a unique mash bill. It's
Yeah.
really
Well,
when
very
people.
chicken stuff.
It's so funny. Like when people try it, they're like, "Oh my god, like, this is different." And I'm like, "You're damn right."
You know,
it's pretty cool.
When I was growing up,
should
I gonna kind of do the Jackie's I Can taste notes on this here for a second. I remember, I don't know if my mom, she'd always buy cereal that was like, wheat.
Here we go with the cereal again.
Hang on, just bear with me. Right? Damn it. Jeez, guys. But she'd buy like things that didn't have sugar, right? Regular Cheerios, not Honey Nut Cheerios. And we'd be like, oh, it's just, it tastes like, grain. Like, I'm a kid, I want some sweetness to it. She'd say, put some honey in it.
Yep.
And so I'd just drizzle some honey in my cereal with milk.
And you'd be like, hey, Mom, you can buy Honey Nut Cheerios.
Right. And she's like, no, you have to add your own honey. And I'm watching how much you're putting in. I'm like, really? You're anti-sugar? Okay. But, it's kind of what it makes me think of. It makes me think of like a cereal with honey in it, right? You're getting the rye and that great rye grain note and spiciness, but then there's this kind of honey wheat that just coats everything.
Beautiful sweetness, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just
not over sweet, just perfect.
It's like this really, really great balance. I love.
All right, I got one.
Will, you said that. Yeah.
So, and this may be what everyone makes fun of me for going forward, but between this bourbon and the cigar, I get kind of like this pumpkin loaf, and not the flavor of pumpkin, but the sense of like most pumpkin loaves are made with some sort of nut, whether it's almond or pecan or something. You get that crunch in there with like the flour and then like the bread. You get that kind of like confectionery dessert bread, but also like a nutty quality that kind of brings it together. And it's a really good retro with the whiskey.
Well, what I'll
can
say
see
is
that for sure,
we're all getting something different, right?
Yeah, I think that's great.
I'm pulling I get a lot of citrus. I get some really nice orange on it, like orange, spicy orange kind of thing going on. But for me,
where was the orange mimosa boy?
my favorite, the thing I love most about this whiskey is the finish. Like the finish just is it's phenomenal. So
Well, and it's funny you said that because after taking a good puff of the cigar and going back to the whiskey,
That's what
I'm
I was
getting
just getting ready to bring up. Yeah.
It's like cantaloupe.
Yeah.
It's really cool, and I love seeing the complexities change with the cigar. Now, if I go whiskey back to cigar, it's probably going to go back to pepper again, which is great. I love it.
Well, that's what stood out. The finish on this just sticks around long enough that when you hit the cigar, you get that combination of the two together. It gives you a totally different palate.
Yeah. Yep.
So that brings up a good question, Greg. When people come into your distillery or when you meet people out in the world that are asking about, Larrikin, do you tend to suggest cigars with it? Or have people come up to you and been like, hey, what type of cigar can I pair with the rye or the wheat or the small batch? Have people come to you with those questions?
Oh, a lot. That happens every day. I mean, we have the only walk-in humidor on the Bourbon Trail, and we have the only indoor cigar lounge on the Bourbon Trail. So we get a lot of people that really enjoy cigars come into the place. Fortunately, we have 2 or 3 folks on our team in the front that are pretty knowledgeable on the cigar front, much more so than I am. And they always steer them. Don, in particular, will always steer them in the right direction. If Chris, our cigar sommelier, happens to be on site, you won't be able to shut him the hell up. He'll just keep talking.
That's great.
That's great.
But it happens all the time.
And that's a huge thing because we just did the Bourbon Trail, a month ago, and we just hit some of the ones that I hadn't been to in a long time. And that was the major downfall I felt with a lot of places is you try something and you're like, oh man, I bet this would be really good with this cigar, but you can't smoke anywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we know you're close to Wild Turkey, Four Roses, and you're not far from like Woodford and all that. Like Woodford's a beautiful property. It's not very big, but it's a beautiful property. They got a nice patio,
Right.
Beautiful tasting room with all glass, windows and doors. It would be amazing if like that, like you could have a place to smoke there.
Yeah.
Like that would be amazing. Just to sit outside, do a tasting. Like I wish more places on the Bourbon Trail would embrace that. And now that the legislation has passed that allows smoking in Kentucky, would go through the steps to do what they need to do to
Yeah, I do feel like they're missing out on that aspect of it.
It's a whole nother world. It's
And the other thing we do at Larrikin too is we're just about finished building our patio and deck out the front of the building, so we'll be able to sit under cover, have a cigar even if it's raining, outside if you like. We even do our tasting experiences outside. We actually have at the distillery a cigar and whiskey experience. So you'll come in and you'll get your 4 bourbons or whiskeys, and we'll pair a cigar with that for you to have while you're tasting through those whiskeys.
That's awesome. That's
So
really
when is the patio expected to be done?
Beginning of March. So it's
that's road trip.
So
time.
let's say the end of March. Yeah.
End of March.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just we're just waiting for the roof to go on. That's all.
Beautiful.
So you can come out now and sit. We have big umbrellas up there now, so people are sitting outside having cigars every day when it's not too blowy. Now, so it's open. It's just not finished.
Is there happen to be a casino anywhere close to you guys as well? I mean, that's a day trip for me.
Yeah.
Not officially.
Not officially.
Alan's our resident gambler, so
Yeah.
he likes to hit the slots. Yeah.
Completely.
He's getting to the degenerate label. Yeah, he's getting there.
I'm on a hot streak right now, so
See,
that's the thing. I would
keep
say
it up.
degenerate.
That's
label
what they
is
all
someone
say.
that actually loses
yeah.
all the money.
Yeah.
You're at least breaking even, if not, you're way ahead this
He's
month.
our avid gambler. At this point.
Greg, all we ever see is his post when he wins. We never see shit when he loses, so we
Exactly.
really don't know
Right.
how much is going into this, Alan.
The big thing is, you lose is when you don't walk out the door.
When you win. Yeah.
When you win, leave.
Yeah.
And that's so there's days I'll give some of it back and stuff, but
Those are
most of the
charitable
times,
donations, yeah.
most of the times now if I win, all right, I leave.
Yeah, the days when you give it back is when you give us $100 allowance and send us to the table.
Quickest way to lose money is give all of us money.
Give
to
all of
gamble
us money.
with.
Yeah. Well, what are we moving to next?
Yeah, let's go to this.
Hey,
next one.
just one thing on this on the high wheat rye. This is now distillery only. We bottled the last 2 barrels of it this week.
Oh,
so
wow.
if you see this out in the wild,
Buy it.
grab it. And if you are passing the distillery and want to get some, I recommend you do so because it's only a number of liquor stores still have stock, but they're not getting any more. We're actually going to have a funeral for the last barrel in a couple of weeks.
That's cool.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, and again, thanks to Cody Roy for giving us these 4 bottles to taste on the show. So
You got to do a Viking
he's a
funeral.
great dude. He's a great dude.
Send it on a float.
We are going to do a Viking funeral.
Nice.
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
yes.
Well, take a video and send it to us. We'll definitely
Yes.
post it.
When are you
Oh,
doing
dude,
that?
everyone's going to be in black. There's going to be a procession. There's going to be fire trucks. There's going to be everything.
That's going to be
When are you
awesome.
going to be doing that? Do you have a date on that yet?
No, probably in the
Okay.
next couple of weeks. We've got to do it before it gets too hot.
Yeah, cool. Shoot me a text. We'll make sure to include that in an episode or make sure we share it.
Yeah, there'll be plenty of video, I'm sure.
I'm assuming you're doing that on a weekend, right?
Yeah, we'll probably do it on a Saturday.
Okay. Yeah. That makes
On the
sense.
farm behind us. Hopefully, we'll be able to shoot a flaming arrow into it.
That's amazing.
Just don't ask for permission. Just do it.
Yeah.
I mean, incendiary
Oh, dude.
rounds work too.
Yeah.
Oh,
Little
that's a good
tannerite.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, we'll the county fire department are great here, so we'll let them know, and they'll probably bring a truck up and join the party. Is my guess.
Yeah.
Sweet. Always good for safety.
So, Will, what we got?
What
A
are we
single
on now,
barrel
buddy?
now. What do we got here?
Yep. So this is the straight bourbon whiskey single barrel. This one is the KBB barrel, 75 corn, 21 rye, 4 barley, 8-year, coming in at 125.8 proof.
And this is like night and day from the last one. The last one was so fruity on the nose. This one's darker and richer on the nose.
Well, last one was a rye, right?
I know, but yeah. Oh, what was a high rye bourbon, wasn't it?
Well, it was a high wheat rye.
High
Yeah,
wheat rye.
rye.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah, 65-35. Which,
Yeah, this is nice.
Actually, now that one, real quick back to the high wheat rye. You're sourcing that, correct?
No, so I heard when I was on before and couldn't speak. So you got it spot on. We at Larrikin sort of have a bit of a hybrid model at the moment, whereby we've contract distilled, and we've made. I've been doing this off and on for about 10 years. So a bunch, mainly our single barrels are ours, but then we've contract distilled. And in the beginning, we sourced some whiskey, but we haven't done that for some time. But the high wheat rye was we made that down in Tampa, Florida, with a buddy of mine who was more of a rum distillery, and it was his idea, frankly, and it worked amazingly. We also made a high wheat bourbon, which was a terrible disaster, and it didn't even. You couldn't even use it for hand sanitizer. It stunk so bad. It was shocking. It just stunk. I don't know what we did to it, but the high wheat rye worked great. He's been, he closed his distillery down, probably 7 years ago, but that's why I got the last little bit of his when he closed down. So, so that's ours. The bottled in bond was contract distilled with Buffalo Trace back in the day. What else? This was also a contract, but now this has got a lot of our stuff in it as well. It just depends on which one pops up.
Okay, so the reason for asking that question, thank you for clarifying all that, because like you mentioned, we couldn't hear you before, appreciate that. But 65-35, no malted barley.
Right.
That had to be a little bit of a challenge for your fermentation and getting that right.
That was the problem. Everyone said not to do it, and we still did.
Sometimes the most magical stuff happens when you don't listen to other people.
Well, what do they know?
It's never getting made again. That's why, because it's such a bitch.
I mean,
everyone's like, you've got to do this again. You've got to do this again, and I'm like, I'm not sleeping next to the freaking still.
That's the challenge, right? We all know malted barley is often put in because it helps the fermentation process, makes things all move a little bit better, and keeps the health of the yeast.
I can't think of another distillery that's done that mash bill or anything like it.
I've never heard.
Yeah, I've not ever seen one, but I'm sure it's out there somewhere. But we may have a crack at it again. But this was one of those ones that, even when it was 6 years old, it wasn't very. I didn't think it was that great. And then when it ticked over into like sort of mid-7s, it totally changed. And we bought it out initially as an 8-year, and now the last half dozen barrels have been 9 years.
So I'd like to get your opinion or thoughts on something I've been thinking about. So, there's this glut of barrels, right? So-called glut of barrels out. They're cheap. A lot of people are buying them up. A lot of NDPs are releasing a lot of high-aged product, which is kind of like, if you look back 10, 15 years ago, it's kind of like the case. And now you kind of come back, you see it, but how do you survive? How do you maintain longevity in this industry? And I feel like the latter of buying these high age and doing all these one releases, unless you build just this mass following, at some point the whiskey's going to run out. So 5 years, 10 years from now, whatever. How do you I guess, what are your thoughts on how do you maintain longevity in this industry?
Yeah, it's a really good. I mean, that's the $1 million question, right? Or the $1 billion question. I mean, I always say to the guys, and it's sort of my little catchphrase at work in some respects, is that, we're as good as our last single barrel. So we're a small distillery, very small distillery, not a pimple on, most of them's backsides. But, if we keep putting out whiskey that people like to drink and it's, good quality, and we don't sort of give in and, put out crap, that's sort of our model. The other thing is we don't have any debt. And you're seeing a lot of these craft distillers, I think, even some of the bigger ones, that are just crumbling under debt. So, a couple of years ago when everything was tickety-boo, and we talked a bit earlier about the, about contract distilling and all that sort of thing. I mean, there's been look at Garrard County Distillery, for instance. They were set up as a contract distiller, and no one's contract distilling now. So, and then they had mountains and mountains and mountains of debt. Same with Luca Mariano, or whatever it was called up here in Danville. Yeah. Mountains of debt. They, you don't need $1 million still to make good whiskey. You can make good whiskey on a still from Still Dragon in Missouri, which costs you $40,000. And so I think a lot of people got over their skis, thinking the whole COVID kind of boom would last forever, which it obviously didn't. And this wasn't just smaller and medium-sized distilleries. This is all the big guys. That's why Jim Beam, closed down one of their plants, one of their distilleries, I think in Claremont, for the time being. And, you're seeing, a lot of, coupling the oversupply with the lack of markets now with the tariffs, like just killing Canada and Europe for distillers. You look at a company like, I don't know, Jim Beam, for instance. More than half their product would go overseas at any normal time.
Yeah.
And that gets choked off. That's a lot of people that aren't making whiskey or selling whiskey. So, I think the issue of the glut is actually pretty good for some small distilleries and for some NDPs. They were paying $4,000 a barrel a year ago. Now they're paying maybe $1,500.
Yeah.
So, that's great. But if I had the money right now, I would be going out and buying whatever I could and sticking it in as many warehouses as I could. Because you're right, what's going to happen is the cycle is going to turn around and bite itself, have another lick of the ice cream, and then you're going to have all these big guys will stop making, and then all of a sudden there's a gap where there's no 1 year, there's no new fill, there's no this, there's no that for 2 or 3 years, and all this other stuff's going to run out eventually, and then you're going to have that little gap in the middle. So that's a long way of saying I think there's a lot more to come.
Yeah.
Well, I like what you said there
I
about...
thought their press blurb it was just for remodeling purposes.
Right, of course. But I like what you said about being able to make whiskey and get something, halfway decent out the door. I've always wondered about that. I have a family member that I may have got him like a little 5-gallon electric column still, right? One of these little things you can get for $500 or whatever. And he ended up making bourbon. And he just...
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
He thought about it.
He did think about it. And he may have allegedly put it into a bunch of, quart jars.
Alleged jars.
Right? I think he made a couple batches, put into quart or pint jars. Just had some little tiny charred oak staves.
Theoretically.
Just enough to fit in a jar. Let it sit in his basement where he had some good temperature fluctuations. I don't know, it was 4 or 5 weeks, something like that.
The views and opinions expressed on the Final Third podcast for entertainment purposes only are not a real event.
There you go.
And his address is.
It shocked the hell out of me because he took it, he blended it, he got it into some pint jars and gave it to some of us. And I'm out working in my barn, and I kind of smelled it and tasted it and was like, okay, well, that's interesting. ended up having another family member come over, and I said, "Hey, this is our family member's alleged, stuff in this jar." And we sat there and just passed the jar back and forth, and I was like, "Man, if I can sit there and do that with something made in like a 6-week time period, was it anything that you'd want to put on the shelf? No, like you wouldn't want to sell it because it's a little too, just aggressive, and it's extreme small batch, so to speak. Yeah. But it just kind of surprised me. The process is the same process, right? Whether you're doing it in 53-gallon barrels or you're doing it in quart jars, the concepts are still the same. The process is effectively the same, and you can get some really good bourbon from some surprising places out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the best story that Greg shared with us last year was that 10-year that you did with the Alberta when you were telling us about, that whiskey was heading to Russia. And, your wife was like, wow, that can't go to Russia. So, whatever you got to do, just get that barrel, and that's not going to Russia. Like, make sure that's American whiskey now. So,
that was a
we
crazy
appreciate
story.
that as Americans.
I didn't know if that would ever sell, but it took off.
It did. It did. That was crazy.
10 years old.
Do you think like that 10-year kind of like spread the other, varietals that you guys are doing, or do you think that was kind of like a one and done?
Oh no, that was a one and done. At the time, when we launched as Lawrenceburg, 4 years ago, whatever it was, maybe a bit longer, I thought we had enough barrels of our own to, get through, but we didn't. We sold out everything in like a week. So we had to fill a gap, and that's what that 10-year run. And remembering this was sort of COVID as well. And
Sure.
You couldn't get hold of anything. You couldn't get barrels. You couldn't buy bottles. You couldn't buy anything. And so these popped up on my radar, and I tried it, and it was remarkably good. And we just got it and bottled it. And fortunately, it was a slow burn. It took a while. Well, one, people didn't know who the hell we were, and two, it was a really unusual product. And we like to put out stuff that's a little bit different when we can, not just to, not to be contrary or anything, but we'll never have enough money. We'll never know enough, but we know just enough to, sort of shake the tree a little bit and put out 100% 10-year-old rye and see how it goes. Put out a 65-35 rye wheat, and and the rosewater. We just enjoy doing that sort of stuff.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think that's great. Like every distillery, when they come around, wants to do like the next big thing. They want to be that next, whiskey on the shelf. They want to be the pour on the bar that everybody goes to. So I think it speaks volumes to like what you've done with your brand and everything with Larrikin that, has spread all this, amazing whiskey knowledge and just everything that has happened in the last, 3 to 4 years has been amazing.
I just like to drink it.
Well, thank you.
Well, so earlier you guys were saying that wheated rye was your favorite. I don't know if I could pick one. He's got the deep. Is that the deep purple?
Yeah, no. This is just a 9-year-old single barrel. This is barrel D12.
Okay, yeah, that's great. Well, just it speaks volumes to what you guys are doing. That I don't think I could pick a favorite because I think every single one of them, with the exception of the Amberana, is something that I would leave on the shelf at any time, and I would buy any of these bottles. And any single barrel that you guys do, I'm in. I mean, it's just one of those products that the single barrels hit, the small batch hits, the bottled and bonds are amazing.
Talking about deep purple, they're very infrequent. We probably last year I think we had 2 barrels because we find these barrels that are hazmat proof that are good enough to go single barrel because we can, you can find hazmat barrels, but they're not, single barrel. Pardon me,
terrible.
Worthy.
Some of them are terrible.
Terrible. And we don't. It's like our old adage. It's, we're as good as our last single barrel. So we won't put out a shitty thing just because it's hazmat. So we
listen
found
up,
2
people
barrels
that keep dumping hazmats in the market for no reason.
Yeah, Tara. I don't even like hazmat whiskey much, but actually I don't like it. But Mike up at the back, who is our production manager, he's got a fantastic palate, and he'll walk in, just holding a little glass, a little Glen, and he'll be like, "Try this," and I know already that it's a hazmat because he's like a 12-year-old girl, with a new Barbie or whatever. But I try it, and we've had 2 barrels in the last month, but they're both only about 5 gallons each. So they are remarkably good. We'll probably release them at the same time at some point, but there'll be 30 or 40 bottles out of each barrel maybe. So that'll be our next Deep Purples whenever we put those out.
Sounds like a KBF release, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. We've got a something pretty special coming down the pike for KBF this year.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
Can't wait for that.
Which I'm pretty
Greg,
excited
let me ask you one last question before we kick you off here and we wrap up for the day. How involved are you with the everyday, operations? Are you on site every day? Are you the face of this? Are you, we know,
I'm going in again
so with Wild Turkey, Jimmy Russell shows up. We know that he was a huge part of Wild Turkey in the beginning. He's obviously a huge part now, but now at this point, he's getting up there in age, so he sits in the gift shop and signs bottles. What is your role at this point with Larrikin? Are you mixing? Are you mashing? What are you doing?
Everything. I'm the HR department. I'm the plumber. I'm the merchandise designer and orderer. I'm the distiller. I'm the blender. Everything. I would love to just sit in the gift shop and sign bottles. That would be freaking awesome.
It's coming. It's coming, brother.
Yeah. Well, from your lips to God's ears, as they say. But we've got a great team. I think we're 15 people now, or 16. And everyone, someone might be the sales manager or the marketing manager, production manager, but everybody does everything. So, I'm going to go in once I get off with you guys for the last 3 hours we're open, and I'll be working the tasting room. I'm going to get some stuff set up. We're doing a gin run tomorrow, so I'll get set up for that. And then Mike will get that underway in the morning because he goes in at 5 o'clock or something stupid in the morning, and then I'll waddle in and make sure it's all going okay, and do the thing, and then go and do the next thing, and then deal with the ABC, and then go and deal with the county, and then go and deal with whatever else is coming down the pike that day. Deal with our distributors, and do social media and all that sort of stuff. So no, it's very hands-on. I'm traveling a lot more now. Obviously, we're in 17 states now, including New York, California, Texas, Illinois, Indiana, etc., Tennessee. So I'm traveling a lot to those markets, which is important. So we've just hired, well, not just, about 6 months ago, we brought on a gal by the name of Barb McDonald. She's our lead distiller. Barb was the head distiller at Law's Whiskey House in Colorado, which is a great facility. And she's also an engineer. So when we are going through all the drama of putting together stills and steam and all that sort of thing, she's able to step up. So she's sort of doing a lot of the day-to-day of that now.
That's a great addition.
Yeah,
that's a
somebody
great
to
addition.
do the math.
Oh,
Yeah.
she's Barb's the business. But I won't let her touch the gin. I still do the gin. I love gin.
There you go.
That's great, man.
Hey.
I think that speaks volumes to what you guys are doing. Having you being hands-on with the operation is, I think it means everything to what you guys are doing.
I'm too cheap to pay anyone else to do it.
So will we see an American single malt in your future?
No, probably not.
Okay.
Light whiskey?
That's fair.
I'm not a big fan of the American
malts.
single. It's just not my thing. If I wanted a single malt, I'd drink Scotch.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah. How do you feel about light whiskeys then?
Love them.
Yeah. Oh, look at that one. Yeah, there's a light whiskey.
That's a good one.
So
American light whiskey.
This one's 7, but the new one's 8. This one's 144 proof.
Wow.
8-year-old single barrel light whiskey. It's the difference with our stuff is it's 85% corn and 15% malted barley. Most of the time you'll see an American light whiskey, they'll be 99.1 or 95.5 or thereabouts. This has just gone. I don't know of anyone else that's done a single barrel, like a single barrel cask strength light whiskey. This has just taken off for us, and retail. It's an 8-year-old hazmat that retails for under $100, and so it's gone really great for us.
Can you say, is it distilled in Kentucky?
Oh yeah, we don't have anything that's not distilled in Kentucky apart from that one 10-year-old Canadian rye we ran with.
I think I know where it's coming from. I tasted a Kentucky, probably an 8 or 9 year light whiskey, about 2 weeks ago. Rob and I both did.
Yeah.
If your barrels are anything like that, man, that's a very good,
delicious
special barrel. So I look forward to trying yours.
Yeah, it's the whiskey's great, and as I said 10 minutes ago that I don't like hazmat whiskey. It's just not my thing. But this works. It's got a lot of caramel and vanilla to it. It's really smooth.
There you go, Scott.
There you go.
Wow.
Smooth.
So it's almost like he's bashing
now,
you.
Greg, I thought we agreed that smooth is the worst descriptor out there. Come on.
No, it is. It really genuinely is.
Yeah.
He got you there, brother.
Actually, I'm gonna have to.
So what
when
word do
someone
you
posts
use instead of
something-
smooth? I know here we talked about
Approachable.
Is that a word you use?
Yeah. No, one thing at the distillery at Larrikin, we no one on our team will ever tell you what it smells like, tastes like, what the profile is, ever. And that's an edict from above. We made a decision way back in the day that it's not up to us to tell people what they taste. And so we genuinely don't. We never put tasting notes on anything. We never, if we get asked, we ask them what they get out of it. But we'll never tell you what it should taste like. And the other thing with us is that, my family come out of the wine industry, so we always put the mash bill on our bottles, so you know what is in there, because I'm not going to go and buy a $50 bottle of wine if I don't know what's in the bottle. And I think the same about whiskey. So we always put the mash bill on there for that reason.
That's smart.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
But I do love a good smooth whiskey.
Does your Greg? Does your family still have involved in the wine business in Australia, or?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you've got to do a finished barrel from your Australian
Give us a
winery,
cab.
right?
Yeah, get nice cab finish or.
You got to do one.
Yeah, I think when I go back just before Christmas, we're going to see how we can bring a couple of pallets back.
That'd be awesome.
Empty barrels, yeah, it'd be pretty
It kind
cool.
of ties in your whole story,
Yeah, and I've got a bunch of other friends that are winemakers over there and cider makers. Bunch of whiners, yeah. So I'd probably bring some of their stuff back too if I can, and just play around with it over here.
Very cool.
That'll be awesome.
I don't think Greg calls them whiners. He calls them wankers.
Wankers.
It's a whole different thing.
Wine wanker.
That's only on Wednesdays.
Wanker Wednesday, baby.
So he's got the hat. Yeah, wank. There you go. So after this, we're gonna do our members only, which
made
is
this for us.
Yeah, that's great.
Love it. Yeah.
We do our unfiltered event after the regular recorded podcast, and we're going to talk about your Wanker Wednesdays.
Yeah. So we'll
tell
do
you
that here in
what,
a second.
Wanker Wednesdays has just exploded.
Yeah.
People,
That's awesome.
Well,
it's
we'll
pretty
talk
funny.
about.
Yeah,
We'll talk about that here in a minute because we want to talk a little bit about that.
because we want to talk about it with more open vocabulary.
Open vocabulary.
Yeah, for
than
sure.
what we do on the main
So,
show.
yeah.
Main show we keep it straight and narrow here, but our members podcast section we'll open up.
For
They'll
sure.
appreciate it more for sure.
But definitely check out the Wankers Wednesday because that is absolutely fantastic.
It is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on Instagram, Larrikin, just at Larrikin Bourbon on Instagram, and my Instagram is Larrikin Distiller. We'd love to, I need some new bloody followers. I haven't had a new follower in a year. So at Larrikin Distiller. That's me.
At Larrikin Distiller. And, there you go.
Cool. Awesome.
Yep. And then you can always see our Wanker Wednesdays.
Heck yeah. Well, Greg, if you want to hang out for members only, unless you have to go do some work.
I actually do have to.
Okay.
I've got to be at the distillery.
All right. Well, we will carry on in your memory. We'll take on for you while you go do important distilling things.
You carry the torch.
Yeah,
Yes.
Carry the torch. We'll carry the torch. That's a good way to say it. We're going to carry on. Greg, we thank you for joining us today.
Yeah.
We'll make sure to share this out on all our platforms after this live is done, and we'll tag you in everything. We'll check in later on in the year after we get some more of these verticals, around the lounge, around Indiana and other states. So
keep shipping more stuff to Indiana.
Yeah,
we like to drink it up.
Keep
here.
Indiana's really Indiana's taken off for us. It's been great. People in Indiana like good bourbon, so
they do. They do.
Handy spot up there. I don't even know what town that's in. Ashley, I think.
Ashley,
Tipsy's place. They've done 3 barrel picks in a month, and they've all sold out in a few days.
Great.
So
Awesome.
yeah, it's Indiana's. We've only just got into Indiana a couple of months back, so it's been really good for us so
We'd
far.
be remiss to say that we're still waiting to get your bourbon cream. That bourbon cream might be some of the best bourbon cream in the market, period. And I'm waiting to get it. I already got a case on order of that too. Plus we have the small batch and the bottle of bond on the bar. So I'm looking forward to getting that bourbon cream too.
Well, yeah, I'm not a bourbon cream guy, but we make that in house, and it's our biggest selling product.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's good.
That's great, man. Well, Greg, we appreciate you for joining us today.
Thanks, buddy.
We will touch base later on in the year whenever we have a chance. And,
come and see us.
That's all you got, man.
Cheers,
if you're down in
you.
Kentucky near Lawrenceburg, go check out Larrikin. It's a place to be. So, yeah, we appreciate it.
Smoke a cigar.
You can smoke a cigar.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Greg.
See you, boys.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah, appreciate you guys. Bye,
See
Greg.
you, buddy.
All right, everyone. That's it. That's it for Greg. So we're going to wrap up here.
Yeah.
We'll get into the members only here in just a minute. But
I hope you guys enjoyed hearing from Greg. Greg's a great guy. So we're excited to have him on the show. So you guys can find me anywhere, Final Third Cigar.
Cock and Wolverine.
Find me at Scotty D Smokes.
you can find me at both the Visual Spencer Lee's, and don't forget to follow the Final Third Podcast.
All things Big Al.
Moto Photo on Instagram. Don't forget to follow the Larrikin Distiller or Larrikin Distillery on Instagram too.
There you go.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys.
Cheers. We'll see you.